Right. So a monomial, who can tell me what a monomial is? How many terms are in a monomial?
One term.
Yeah. And then how many terms are in a binomial?
Two terms, ma'am.
Perfect. Right. So now we'll start with a monomial. We'll call that A, right? And we want to multiply it into the bracket where you have B plus D. Okay. Now we're going to use what we call the distributive law. The distributive law says you're going to take this first term A and multiply it into each one of the terms inside the brackets, right? So what you end up having is AB, okay? Because A times B gives you AB plus A times D, which is AD. Okay, now let's use numbers and algebraic terms. So let's say you have 3 and you want to multiply 6 plus 7A. Okay, that's our first example. How are we going to distribute that, or how are we going to work that one out?
I'm gonna say 3 times 3.
Okay, sorry, that's a 6. Sorry, my darling. So that's 3 times 6. Okay, plus carry on,
Okay.
left.
3 times 7A.
3 times 7A. Perfect, right? So 3 times 6, that gives us 18, plus 3 times 7 is 21A. So we have distributed, and that becomes our answer. All right. Let's take another example. Let's say you have negative 2A and you want to multiply it into A plus 7. What do you get there? Someone who hasn't answered. Who hasn't answered yet?
Negative 2A times 2 plus negative 2A times 7.
Okay, so it's negative 2A times A with your, plus your negative 2A times your?
Times 7.
7. Okay, so remember brackets also mean times. So I can write it like that, or I can also put a bracket, a multiplication sign there. So this becomes minus 2A squared. A positive and a negative will give me a negative, right? Then 7 times 2, that's 14A. Okay. That's our answer for that one. All right. Okay, let's see now. Let us deal with one that has 3 terms. So it's negative 3A squared into A squared plus B minus 4. Now this time we have a monomial multiplied by a trinomial. Trinomial meaning 3 terms. Okay, so let's go ahead. Again, you're going to multiply that into that into that, and that into that one. Okay, so negative 3A squared times A squared. So that's the first one there. Then plus your negative 3A squared multiplied by the B. And the last term, a negative multiplied by a negative 3A squared times 4. Okay, so here this becomes negative 3A to the power of what? What's it going to be to the power of here?
4.
Perfect. And then minus, because a positive and a negative will give you a negative. Then 3A squared B. Then a negative and a negative will give you a?
Positive.
Right. And then 3 times 4 is 12A squared. Awesome. That is how we work that one out. All right. Now let's go on to what we call multiplying a binomial with another binomial. Okay. So Now, this time, you can have A plus B there multiplied into C plus D. There's several ways of doing this. We're going to do it the slightly longer way, okay? So you take the first term, okay, which is your A, and you do the normal distribution there. So the A comes first, then you're going to multiply it into the second bracket, C plus D. Then you're going to apply the same principle, but this time, remember, it's positive B, and you're going to multiply that into the second bracket as well, plus B, C plus D. Okay, so can you see this is just our normal distribution now, just that we have two terms. So A times C, that's AC. A times D plus AD plus BC plus BD. Okay. We leave it like that. Now let's work with a slightly more complex one. So let's say you have 3 minus A and you want to multiply it into 4A minus B. Okay. So what do? We start by taking our 3, right? And we're going to multiply it into there. So this becomes 3, 4A minus B, and minus A into 4A minus B. Okay. Let's expand it. 3 times 4 is 12A. Then 3 times negative B becomes negative 3B. Negative A multiplied by 4A, negative 4A squared. Negative A multiplied by negative B. What happens there? A negative and a negative becomes a positive.
Positive.
Right, and it becomes AB. Did I lose anyone at any point here?
No.
Okay, good. Awesome. All right. Let's do another one. A, B, C, D, E. So 40 plus Z into 2A minus Y. Let's see. Right, so any volunteers, talk me through it. What should I do here?
Times 40 by
Oh, okay. So we're going to take this 40 here, okay? And remember, we're multiplying it into the second bracket. So it's going to be 40 multiplied by 2A minus Y, okay? So that's the first step. Then the second step, we take Z, okay? And multiply it into the bracket. So plus Z into your 2A minus Y. Okay. All right. Now, then we're going to multiply each term into a bracket like that. So 40 times 2, I know that gives me 80. We have an A there. Then 40 times negative Y, that's negative 40Y. 2A times Z, that's plus 2AZ. Then negative Y plus Z becomes negative YZ. There we go. Okay. Right. So for the examples that we just did, there were no like terms. But what I want us to do now is to see with the examples that I'm about to give you, Okay, let's see if we're going to get any like terms. Okay, all right. I'm just pulling up more questions. Just give me a minute, sorry. Right, let's see here. So we have 3r minus 5 into 3r plus 1. Let's distribute this one again, okay? So we're going to take the first term and multiply it into the second bracket. So this reads as 3r into 3r plus 1. Then you take your second bracket here, which is your negative 5 into there. So negative 5 multiplied by 3r plus 1. Okay. Now distribute the 3r into each term inside the brackets. So 3 times 3, that's 9. R times r, that's r squared. Okay. Then 3r times 1, that's just going to be 3r. Then minus 5 times 3, that's negative 15r. And then minus 5 times positive 1, that becomes minus 5, because 5 times 1 is just 5. Can you guys see any like terms here? Yeah.
9r squared and 3r and 15r.
Okay, so now let's remember, let's try recall. What are like terms actually? Like terms have the same variable, right? And as well as the same exponent. Okay, so it must have the same exponent, not only same variable. So which ones have the same variable and same exponent? I see
3r
that.
and 15r.
Perfect. So 3r, 15r. Okay. So those are the only like terms there. So when we simplify this, this becomes 9r squared, 3r minus 15. What's 3r minus 15? This is going to be negative 12r minus 5. There we go. Awesome. Let's go on to G. Okay. Now we have 5b minus 5. 2b plus 4. Let's see what we're going to get here. Okay. Again, we're going to take the first term. The first term is 5b, right? And we're going to multiply it into the second term, which is 2b plus 4. Minus 5 into 2b plus 4. Okay. We're now going to distribute each term into each of the terms inside the brackets. So let's start with the coefficients. So 5 times 2, that gives us 10. Then b times b, that gives us b squared.
Wait,
Right. Then 5b plus 4. Okay, 5 times 4, that is 20b. Then we have minus 5 times 2, that is 10b. Then negative 5 plus 4. A negative and a positive, we're going to get a negative. 5 times 4, and that is 20. All right. Are there any like terms?
20b and 10b.
Well done. 20b and negative 10b. Let's simplify that. So 10b squared stays the same. So what's 20b minus 10b? It says plus 10b minus 20. There we go. Right? FGH. Let's do this one now. Okay. Now, I'm going to introduce negative 8m minus 1 minus m minus 8. Okay, so don't let the negative sign scare you. Okay, so we're going to be applying the same principle. The only difference is that this time we have coefficients all around that are negative. Okay, so I'm going to take my negative 8m here, multiply it into negative m minus 8. Then negative 1 into negative m minus 8. Okay, distribute it to each term. Now remember, be careful of your signs, right? So negative 8m multiplied by negative m. What do we get when we do that? Negative and negative? Well done. And this is 8 and m to the power of 2. Awesome. Then negative and negative again, this is going to be positive. 8 times 8 is 64m. Right. On to the next brackets. Negative 1 times negative m. This is now positive m. Okay. Negative 1 times negative 8. That becomes positive 8. Okay. Any like terms? Zachary, do you see any like terms, love?
64m and m.
Perfect. Right. So 8m squared, 64m plus m. Remember, there's an invisible 1 there. So 64 plus 5 plus 1 becomes 65m plus 8. Awesome. Okay. Let's try another one. HI. Negative 2n minus 7, right, into positive 3n and positive 4. Right, same principle. You take your negative 2n, we're multiplying into our second bracket, 3n plus 4. All right, then negative 7 into 3n plus 4. Okay, let's distribute. Negative 2n into 3n. Negative or positive, that becomes negative. 2 times 3, that is 6. N to the power of 2. Yeah, then negative 2n times positive 4. Negative and a positive, that becomes negative. 2 times 4, that's 8. Don't forget your n. Negative 7 times 3, that's 21. Don't forget your n as well. Negative 7 plus 4, negative 28. Any like terms? Yes. Negative 8n and negative 21n. Negative 29n minus 28. There we go. Okay. Right. Are any of you currently in quarantine?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you guys, what else did you guys do this week? So we've done binomial, we've done one multiplied by monomial. What else have you guys done that you would like us to go through? Did you do dividing?
Yes, ma'am. Please go through that, ma'am.
Okay, sweetheart. So we're going to do dividing now. Okay. Right. So we're now doing dividing. Okay. So let's start with a monomial by a monomial. Okay. So our first example. Let's say I have 28 divided by 7. 28a divided by 7. Now, you have a coefficient and then there's a number 7 at the bottom. There isn't a variable at the bottom. So when we do this, right, we're only going to divide the coefficient, the number 28 by 7. 28 divided by 7 gives us 4. And remember, the a stays there because that one doesn't divide by anything. It doesn't have a like term at the bottom to divide by. Okay. Now let's look at another one. Now, this time we have 100a divided by 10a. Okay. A divided by a. Okay. Those are like terms, right? So the a cancels out with the a here. Then 10 into 100, we're just left with 10. Okay. Can you see the a's have canceled out this time, right? Because there's something in the numerator that's also present in the denominator that we can divide by. Does that make sense, loves?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. Now, let's look at 84 a b c squared divided by the number 4 a b. Okay, let's see. Someone talk me through this one. What should I do here? Any ideas?
84 divided by 4.
Right. What does that give me?
21.
21. And then are there any like terms in the numerator and the denominator that will completely cancel out?
A and B.
Right. So those two cancel. And the only thing that's now left is the c squared. There we go. Awesome. Let's go on to D. Now, I'm going to introduce a slightly different one. So let's look at 21 divided by 3, a squared, and you have a at the bottom. Okay. So the trick with these types of questions, right? Start with the coefficients and then we'll go on to the variables. So 21 divided by 3, what's that? That gives us 7. Awesome. Now, remember it was earlier in the year. What did we do when we were dividing bases which are the same, but they have a different exponent? Right. So it's one of our exponential laws, right? So when you have, this is just one of the laws. When you have a to the power of m divided by a to the power of n, this becomes a to the power of m. What do I do next?
N.
Minus n.
Minus N.
Right. That means we have to do the same thing here. Okay. So it's going to be 2 minus 1 because you have an invisible 1 there. So simplify that. You're just left with 7a to the power of 1. We can just write it as 7a. Okay. Right. Let's do another one. Let's say you have 21 b to the power of 3 divided by b. What's our answer going to be here?
21 b squared.
Well done. Okay. And you did that by saying b to the power of 3 minus 1, which gives us 21b squared. Well done. Well done. Okay. Now I'm going to divide. So we've done now monomial divided by monomial. Let's do binomial. Okay. Divided by a monomial. All right. So let's see. Okay. So there are two ways of doing this one. I'm not sure which way your teachers taught you, right? Now, with this one, okay? Like I said, if they are like terms, okay, like as you can see here, there's an a squared there and then this a here. Right, we want to split this question. The way we split it is by writing it as 30a squared divided by a minus a divided by a. Now, split it into a monomial and another monomial. So we can work this out actually. So 30a squared divided by a. What am I going to be left with here? What's the first term?
30A.
Yeah, 30a. Then a divided by a, that just remains as 1. So our answer is 30a minus 1. Okay. Let's go on to a second example. So now we have 21 b to the 3 minus 28 b squared all over 7b. Okay. First things first, what should I do? I can split the question, right? So let's go ahead and split out. Yeah, so it's going to be 21 b to the 3 divided by 7b minus your 28 b to the 2 divided by 7b. Okay, 21 divided by 7, that is 3. b to the power of 3 divided by b to the power of 1. So b to the power of 3 minus 1. Then minus 28 divided by 7 is 4. b to the power of 2 minus 1. So our final answer here is 3b squared minus 4b. There we go. Awesome. Now let's see another one. 100 xy squared plus 20 x squared y divided by 5xy. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to think about how we should tackle this one, and then we'll do it together. Okay. Right, so first things first, what should we do?
Separate the two.
Right, let's separate it. Xy squared over 5xy plus the 20x squared y over 5xy. All right, 100 divided by 5, I'm left with
20.
20. X divided by x, what am I going to be left with there? Just a 1, right? Because these two cancel out. Then y squared divided by y to the 1. So y2 minus 1 there. Plus 20 divided by 5 is 4. X to the power of 2 minus 1. And these
1.
two y's cancel out. So I'm left with 20y plus 4x. Awesome. Let's do another one, but this time we're going to have a squared b like that. Okay. It looks like this. Right, so first things first, we're going to split it, right?
Separate.
Right, so 20, a to the 3, b to the 2, divided by negative 4a squared b minus 4a divided by negative 4a squared b. Right, let's deal with the first one. positive divided by a negative, that gives me a negative.
Negative.
20 divided by 4 is 5. Then a to the power of 3 minus 2. B to the power of 2 minus 1. Okay, so we're done with the first term. Let's move on to the second term. Negative and negative gives me
Positive.
positive. Well done. 4 divided by 4, we're going to be left with 1. Okay, so we're just left with 1 there. Now, this one's a little bit tricky, right? Any ideas what's going to happen? So the things that were in the denominator, if they're in the denominator, right, and there's nothing else that's common at the top, right, we can't suddenly bring the b to the top. So it's going to stay in the denominator. So we're still going to have b at the bottom. Now, what's going to happen to the a's here? So can you see you have an a here, which is at the top in your numerator. Then you have a squared at the bottom. What should I do here with the a squared at the bottom?
Minus 1.
Right, so you're going to remove one of the a's. Now, the a at the top cancels out with one of the a's at the bottom. So the only thing that remains is a at the bottom. Okay, so this becomes minus 5a to the power of 1 and b to the power of 1 plus 1 over ab. Yeah, so this was a very complex type question, right? Another way people do these questions is by writing out the numbers and then like the letters and then canceling and then seeing which one remains. So if I take the second part here, let's focus on this type of question, right? So it's a side example, right? So I could write it as 4a. Remember that there was a negative there. Then I could write out 4a squared as a times a over b. Times b there. So this 1a will cancel with that 1a. The negative and negative, that's going to become positive. The 4 will cancel out with the 4. That's why we're left with 1 at the top. So that's why I say it's 1ab, like that. Okay. Right. So we have 3 minutes left. Is there anything else you guys would like me to do?
No.
Okay, sweethearts. All right. So well done for coming. I'm very proud of you. Zach, is your surname George? Zachary George?
Yes.
Oh, hi, Zach. Awesome. Thanks for coming. Okay. Good. All right, people. So if you have nothing else or we have no other requests, that's all from me. Of course, if you need anything, just send me an email and say, ma'am, I need help with this section, with that section, and then I will help you. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Well
Thank you,
done.
ma'am.
Thank you, kiddos. Enjoy your weekend. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Bye.
Bye.